night as the Rangers Journal night.
Hello and welcome to the Rangers Journal. My name is Billy Rankin. I'm joined this evening by a new friend of the pod, Youssef, to talk about Hamza Igamane, who Rangers have been linked with in the last few days. Youssef, how are you?
Hello. Thank you for having me today.
No problem. Can you maybe just give us a brief bio of what you do, what your interest is in Moroccan football?
So I am actually a graduate with a master's degree in linguistics and translation studies. So it's totally out of my field, but I'm a very enthusiastic football fan, and I've been following the Moroccan league and the national team for quite a few years now. So I hope I can give you a nice little bit of insight to Hamza Igamane.
Thank you very much for coming on. Well, just that was my first question. Can you just give me a brief kind of history of his career so far? He's still young, but he seems to have impressed you.
Yeah, he's only 21 years old actually, and it's his third season in professional football with his hometown team, which is ISFAR, a very big team in Morocco, one of the three biggest teams actually, capital in the capital, and he's been the performing pretty well for like 3 seasons now. His second season was actually the best and the one that caught the eye of many of us, and he has been confirming his top form this season, which might have been the reason why he attracted from a club like Rangers.
So let me ask you first of all, what do you know about Rangers as a club?
Well, I've been watching the Scottish Premier League since the days of I don't know if you remember some few players that played there, like Marwan Zimama, who was in Hibernian,
Yeah. I
and
remember the name.
yeah, he transferred there in the Scottish. That was the first time that I've watched the Scottish Premier League, and I've been following Hibernian since then, actually,
Right. We're
intermittently.
not
But
we're not
yeah,
fans of them. But if I can
yeah,
go on, primarily we're looking at him as a striker. But is that the only position that he plays?
he's mainly played as a striker the last 2 seasons. But in the first season, he was used at times on the wings, but it's not his best position actually. I think his main role is the one as a top, the center forward up top. Yeah.
If you had to describe him or even compare him to another player, what would you say that describe his best qualities and what he's like?
I've seen a few comparisons from Rangers fans to Alfredo Morales, and I think that he is somewhat similar to him. A very stocky build, very strong. He's someone who may not be the most rapid player or the tallest player, but he makes up for it with his strengths and that he uses to bully the defenders. So I think I would describe him as a similar player to Morales. Yeah,
I think we would all love to see another peak Alfredo
yeah.
Morelos type
I,
player. I noticed in his YouTube videos that he likes to slide on his knees when he scores. That's something that
yeah.
Morelos was famous for
He,
here.
I
Um,
I personally think he has the best celebrations in the league. So yeah,
so I guess
yeah.
he's kind of progressed year on year from his first season.
Yeah, he progressed massively in very a lot of aspects of his game. He improved a lot on his qualities. He was relying a lot on his strength to bully the defenders, but I think he improved in a lot of areas, especially his link-up plays and the way he holds the defenders and lets the his teammates take chances more. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's improved a lot.
So would you say what would you say is like his potential to be in the future? If he had to move on to Rangers, could he go further than that? Could he go to an even bigger club?
Yeah, I think a bigger club. I think Rangers is a
Well,
big
I didn't
club.
mean to say it that way.
Yeah,
Maybe I'm more maybe one like the English Premier League or La Liga or something like that.
yeah. I think he if he succeeds in Scotland with Rangers, I think that will open a lot of doors to like step up to a bigger league. but I think he has the potential to reach there. I think he is one of the most promising strikers we have in the country at the moment. So there's a lot of hopes in him, and I hope to see him succeed in Europe, and why not take another big step to the Premier League, where he can play alongside the likes of Naif Agard and Sadio Riyad, who
Mhm.
also joined there. So yeah, I have big hopes for him.
Do you think he has any weaknesses he has to improve on at the moment?
Yeah, I think his finishings can be lacking at times. Don't get me wrong, he has a big shot in him, where he does not hesitate in front of goal. If he gets the opportunity, good look at the goal, he will fire that shot, and it's will 50% chance of getting in. But I think he can do better at yeah, I think he can do better in terms of decision making. But those things can be improved. But I think he
Mhm.
has that knack for goals. He has that instinct of number nine, and those are things
That's
that you either have or not as a striker.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's he very much sounds a bit like Alfredo Morelos, who could, sometimes a shot would not go exactly where you were you were hoping for it. Does Is he a player
Yeah,
that takes penalty kicks?
no, not much with his team, but he can take them. Yes, but I think for his club, I think Mohamed Hrimat is the one who mainly takes the penalty kicks and as well as the set pieces. Yeah,
Yeah, we have James Tavernier, but I always like a striker who likes to, take it on himself and take the penalty.
yeah,
Unfortunately, Morelos took a penalty kick in the cup final against Celtic one time and put it straight to the goalkeeper, so he never got another chance at penalties. Um,
yeah.
just about his personality, what would you say his character is like on the pitch and off the pitch?
He's a top guy. He's very selfless. He plays for the team. He puts in effort. He tracks back. You would never see him walk or be somewhat passive during the games. He will always give 100%, uh, even if he's injured. So I think in terms of mentality, I don't think there is any issues there. He is a very selfless and with that puts in a lot of efforts.
And off the pitch, with social media and things like that, is he interactive with
Yeah,
fans?
no,
Is
no,
he
there hasn't been any kind of problems outside of this in the last 3 seasons. He's been a very top guy who he doesn't bring a lot of drama in the dressing room or anything like that. So yeah,
Mhm. Now, you do watch a little bit of Scottish football. How would you say he would adapt to playing in Scotland, and would he need to adapt a lot, or would he maybe walk straight in?
I think he will need to adapt a little bit. I think that he will find the rhythm a little bit faster paced than here. I think he will face I wouldn't say much stronger, but definitely the center backs will be better. So he will need to not rely on his strength as much to bully the defenders. But I think he will still be able to break defenses and use his strength. But he would need to not be overly reliant on it as he is
Yeah.
here. Yeah.
The I believe he doesn't have a full international cap, but he is capped for the under 23 Moroccan
Yeah,
side.
Yeah, he still hasn't featured for the senior national team, but he has a few caps with the Moroccan under 23, and
Mhm.
he scored 2 goals actually in a friendly against Wales. So I think you saw some of those goals as
Yeah.
well as yeah, alongside attempts. So yeah, he he seems to be set to take part with the Moroccan under 23s in the upcoming Olympics.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big tournament for him.
Is he knocking on the door of the full national side?
Yeah, he's one of the names that are knocking on the door. We have somewhat of a striker problem currently in the senior national team. We have two main strikers. One who is 30 years old, El Kabi, who scored a hat trick against Aston Villa in the Conference League, and Nasir, who hasn't been very prolific with the senior national team despite his World Cup heroics. So I think Igaman is a serious contender for a spot for the senior national team in the near future, especially if he performs well at Rangers.
Yeah, we unfortunately don't have any. Well, sorry, apart from Ayanis Hadji, who has played today for Romania, we don't have any other international players at the Euros at the moment, which is disappointing in one way
Yeah.
because it means you've not got players that are good enough for the national side. But I think this season or this close season for Rangers fans, I think we're quite happy because we don't want any more injuries. We've had a couple of seasons of very bad
Yeah,
injuries.
you would like your players to be fresh and ready for preseason as well. So
It just leads me on to how has his injury record been? I believe he missed some games recently.
yeah, he missed the last few games for ASFAR through injury, which proved to be very costly for them as it cost them the league the last game.
Right.
But he hasn't missed a lot of games in previous seasons. So I think it was just a tough injury, unlucky one to get.
Right. Yeah, we seem to
Yeah,
get a fair share of unlucky injuries as well. But what do you
yeah.
know? Do you know what that injury was?
Not really. I think it was a problem with his ankle, I think, but not very sure. But it wasn't a serious injury, but one that made him miss the last three games, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Is there any interesting or less unknown facts about him? Is there anything that would surprise the Rangers fans about him?
I think he would be they would be very surprised. I think many think that he is sort of a bullish type of striker, but he's very technical. He's very good. His link-up play is excellent. He likes to drop deep and participate in the attack. Uh, he's very selfless. He may not be the biggest in terms of size, but his aerial ability is also very decent. So I think he's personally for me, I think he's the complete package. A
Okay.
bit unrefined, but still, I think he has a lot of qualities.
I meant
So
to
yeah,
ask
I
you
think he
earlier
was.
on. So I meant to ask you earlier on. How did he come through the team? Was he signed from a smaller club, or did he was in the youth academy there?
Yeah, he was in the Youth Academy at
Right.
ISFAR. He played there through all their levels, under 15, under 17, under 18, and the reserves until the senior, the first team. He played a few handful games in his first season, but it's the second season where he really, which was his breakout season, really. He scored a lot of goals in the league as well as in the Confederation Cup, which is our continent's equivalent of UEFA Europa League. That was his breakout season, and that earned him a call up to the under 23 national team for the AFCON at home, which we won. And he played a few minutes there, but not many. And this season was truly the confirmation that he actually is a very good striker. He played a lot of games. He scored a lot of goals. He assisted as well a lot. So I think many who had some doubts that he might be just a one season wonder were proven wrong, and
Yeah.
he proved us that he actually has the qualities to go further.
That's really it's really good to hear. You're definitely selling him to me. There's been a reported transfer fee. I think of about 1.5 million pounds. That is. Um, is that a big transfer fee in Morocco, or is that not
Well, the
quite?
record fee was actually, I think, 6 million,
Okay.
7 million. Yeah, our players transfer a lot to the Gulf leagues, and like Saudi Arabia and
Yeah,
UAE, and those clubs tend to pay
pay
big
more.
transfer fees. Yeah, so
I'm just
I
wondering
don't
if
think it's.
that. Sorry, I just wonder if that fee is that going to be change? Is that going to change the club? Are they going to then be able to invest that, and is it going to be big for them?
Yeah, I think they're planning to sell a few key players, and one of them is Igaman, and I think they will invest in some players, but I don't think that it will be like a sum that will change the club
Yeah.
totally.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it would be nice for. I would like to see them reinvest that money into some quality players. Yes.
And the players that he plays with, does he have any other competition for the striker role at the club?
The club, well, currently he was their main striker.
Mhm.
last few games where he was injured, someone else took his place, Azrai, Din Azrai, who was like the backup striker. So for IS5, he was like their main target man, the one that brought in the goals, you would say, alongside the his fellow star player Amin Zahzouh, who is currently linked with the Ligue 1 team Olympique Lyon. So yeah, the he was their main striker, and I think losing him would be a big blow for them. And I hope
Right.
that the money that his transfer brings in can help them replace him.
Is there like a chain there of players coming through behind him that we could step in, or is it going to have to be like purchase another player to fill that role?
Yeah, I think that they will need to look in the market and see if they can replace him, because I don't currently see anyone from their academy who can take his place. So yeah, I would think that some serious scouting in the market
Mhm.
would need to be done for them to replace him.
And just regards the national team, if it to come to Scotland, would that be viewed as a good move in Morocco, or is Scotland not
Yeah,
considered a good
yeah,
destination?
yeah. Since the news broke out, the rumors linking him with Rangers, the reception from supporters was very positive. I think many people know about Rangers and Celtics. They're like they're big clubs that take part in European competitions and usually go to the group stages and further. So yeah, it's seen in a very positive light his move to
Mhm.
Rangers.
So it's not likely to affect negatively his international career.
No, no, not at all. Actually, it's seen like a good big step for him to break out in Europe.
You know a bit about his personality, and you mentioned it earlier on. Now, moving to another country, probably a country very different from to his experience in Morocco. I'd mentioned to you that I've been to Morocco myself, and I would say it's a big culture, it's culturally different than Scotland. Him
Yeah.
adapting here would be very important. Has he got the right kind of personality that you think could fit in the UK?
Yeah, I think he's a very serious and hardworking guy. I think that he would need to adapt for sure. I think he will find the environment very different. I don't think he will be facing much pressure because the currently he's playing at a club with a big fan base, so it's not as if the pressure here isn't big or anything. I think he might need to adapt, but I think in the end he will come good. Yeah.
Yeah, the Rangers fan base are notoriously not very patient with players
Yeah,
if we don't
it's
think
the
that
same thing with his current club, actually.
they're
Their
yeah, well,
ultras are known to not be very patient.
very good. Um, had he ever expressed any thoughts of leaving the club or moving abroad before now? Is this his first big link to a foreign club?
Mm, uh, well, there were some rumors in the first breakout season, but in the end, it proved to just be some rumors. Maybe the clubs weren't very inclined to put in the money for a guy who has just his first season in professional football. So they were very reticent to put in the money, and were waiting for a confirmation season, his second season. So I think this is the perfect time for him to leave. Personally, I think that this season he played well. He showed that he can perform at this level, and I think it's time for him to take the next big step.
Good. And this all kind of came about. All these rumors came out last night in Scotland. That is, has has there been any kind of murmurings in the Moroccan press that this is far down the line, or is it just a kind of brief connection at the moment, or a what I mean? Is it
Well, the press hasn't really been talking about his move. It's mainly been here on social media,
right?
and yeah, truly it came out of nowhere. Actually,
Mhm.
just recently that this rumor started circulating, and now we're hearing that it's almost done. So yeah.
I mean, for a few years now, Rangers have been very caged about their transfer dealings. We signed a player, a youth player from AC Milan last week, and nobody had heard about it until it's literally announced on the club's website. So they do tend to keep these things quiet. When we hear about a rumour, it generally comes from the player side or press in the country that they're coming from. But I'm just pleased that we're looking at markets outside the likes of the lower Premier League sides or the English Championship, because I think
Yeah,
we as a team need to get better value for money from our transfers. Just thank you for coming on, Youssef. I really appreciate it, and I think a lot of people
yeah.
are going to enjoy hearing what you thought or what you think about Igamane. Do you have any final thoughts on him? And I've got one other question after this, but do you have any final thoughts or predictions of how he's going to do here if the move goes?
Perfectly with the league. I think personally, I think couldn't have hoped for a better transfer for him, and I'm really excited to see how he gets going for Rangers, and I hope he comes good for you guys, and I hope it encourages other clubs to start looking at the Moroccan market more because we have
Yeah.
some really decent players here in the same quality as Igaman.
Well, that was going to be my last question. Kai, who you've probably been speaking to here at the Rangers Journal, is very keen to find out about players and like to do profile videos on them. Do you have any other names in the Moroccan league that you could mention just now that Kai can have a look at?
Yeah, I have a few. First of all, I have his teammate, and as far as main star player, I would say Amin Zahzouh, who is a 23-year-old attacking midfielder. He comes from our biggest academy in Morocco, which is the Mohammed VI Academy. He recently joined ISFAR and he played very well. He scored 10 goals and delivered 10 assists in 29 games in the league. He has been linked with the moves to various European clubs, mainly in France. Uh, I would also say El Mehdi Mahoub, who is main striker of Raza Casablanca, who won the league. He's a 20-year-old striker who has the same amount of goals actually as Igaman this season. I would also say Union Tuarga, who has some of the best under 20 and under 23 national team internationals. Muad Dahak, a very pacey and skillful winger, 18 years old, as well as the 22-year-old Taufik Ben Tayeb, who also scored, I think, 9 goals this season. So yeah, I think those are some of the names that I think should and would probably leave Morocco soon for Europe.
Well, that's perfect. That gives them something to work on over the next couple of days. Well, thank you again, Youssef. Please, can you tell people how to get a hold of you if they wanted to reach out to you, if you use social media or whatever you are?
Yeah, if anyone wants to reach out to me, I am usually they can reach out from DMs in my Twitter account or X account, which is Red Devil Joseph, or they can send an email to me from my email account, which I'll probably link in my Twitter account as well.
No problem. Again, thank you for coming on to discuss Hamza Igamane. I really appreciate your time, and we're going to discuss what we've talked about with a few of the other podders just now. But thank you very much, Youssef, for coming on.
Thank you very much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Hello everybody, welcome to Rangers Journal. I don't know if I've been having some technical difficulties with my Wi-Fi during that interview there, so if it is, please, boys, flag me up in the private chat and let me know. I think it's okay just now, but it was flickering a wee bit there. Welcome everybody. Thanks to Youssef for coming on and filling us in on Hamza Igamane. Billy, thank you for doing the interview out. What was your overall thoughts on the play?
Well, I just like the connection or the not connection. He was comparing them to Morelos, and peak Morelos was a player that I loved having. I was proud of him being at our club. Scoring those goals in the Europa League, season after season. He did correct me in the kind of pre-record that it's Igamane and not Igamane. So
Igamane,
at least
right.
I was,
Okay.
yeah, because I called him that. I didn't said what you said there. But what a nice guy to talk to. So really pleased that he did that.
I think everybody's still a bit confused with Jeffy as well, and we don't know whether he's Hefty or Yofty or Jeffy or whatever he's going to Binks. We're all settled and calling him Big Jeff. Tomo, what did you think? Good to see you, pal.
Yeah, good to see you, gents. Thanks for again having me on. Yeah, thought it was very good interview, Billy. As I say, a bit of an untapped market for us. Can't sit here and say I know too much about the Moroccan league or Moroccan players in general, but from what Youssef was saying there, sounds promising. I'm just glad he didn't turn around and say he's had some major knee surgery at some point. That would have really have got me worried. But no, it was a really good interview, and as I said, Youssef paints a really good picture of a guy that's young, willing to learn, and as I say, if he is anything like Morales, then we'll be winning a watch there, won't we?
Aye, definitely. It's a valid point, Tomo. Billy, I noticed at the beginning of the interview, Youssef said that it's his third season in pro football, playing mainly as a striker. Similar to Morelos, powerful, can bully defenders. Kind of want to bring in this point that Williams made, saying we just need to be positive. Any signing like now gets slated straight away for the fans. Do you think that, considering this is this boy's third season in pro football, that we need to be patient? Do you think we need to kind of learn that we are not where we were when we won 55, that we're in a place where progress next season might just need to be accepted?
I think some of our fans might still think it's Walter Smith's first time and we're signing, Paul Gascoigne, players like that. We're not really going to be in the market for that level of, we're not in the market for that level of player. I was trying to get at that with him, that he won't really get a lot of patience with the fan base if he doesn't, hit the ground running. And we're very quick to write people off. We're also very quick to say someone is, the next Paul Gascoigne if they start well. And we've had quite a few players recently that kind of fall into that category. I'm not worried about it because he sounds like he's really like that second season he describes of him kind of like his breakthrough season. So he's had 2 good seasons, and he's prolific scoring according to Youssef. So I'm not really worried about him coming in. I know, but Morelos used to play midfield, is that right? And then he kind of get converted to a striker. So I mean, it's maybe if you're just finding his feet and finding his best position, and maybe his body fills out, he's going to be bigger than what he was when his first season, obviously. And no, I'm hopeful for him. And obviously, we never knew anything about him till this time last night. And then you go on YouTube and watch videos of him, and of course, in fact, videos make players look fantastic when maybe they're just mediocre. There's probably plenty of players that you could do a highlight reel for us that are donkeys but would look great on a YouTube reel. So, but no, I'm not worried about that because it's more that's the age and profile I'm looking for us to bring in. The creative players and the impact players, the ones with experience, and maybe more thinking your centre halves or centre mids to bring in the experience, not the ones that need to do all the physical, all the running around.
Aye, Tom, I'll come on to you. Third season for a boy in pro football. Doug just came in with a valid point that he's going to be first Moroccan to represent Rangers. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, no, as I say, it sounds positive, and as Billy's rightly said, this is a market we need to be looking at. We can't just expect players to come in and hit the ground running, but at the same time, the way we are as fans, we don't give them that luxury of time because of the way the league is, and it's basically between us and Celtic. We need them to be putting in performances. But you look over at Celtic, they've brought in guys such as, Kyogo, Abada, Jota, players that maybe didn't have a huge amount of experience, but they've came in and they've done the job for them, and they've brought them success. And we need to be, I think, just a little bit more patient. And as Billy says, if they have a rubbish game, not just write them off. But at the same time, if they have a good game, they're not the next Paul Gascoigne, they're not the next Brian Laudrup. we just need to temper our expectations. That's not saying we shouldn't expect the best, but we're not signing seasoned internationals anymore. People with 200-300 league games under the belt. This lad will come from a league that is different. He'll come to a club where, as I say, expectations are huge. So hopefully he will adapt to it and he will add something to our team. We don't know how Danilo will return after his injury. We don't know what will happen with Dessers over the summer. So we need that competition up there, and getting this done sort of early on at least gives the manager and coaching staff time to work with him and get him into the culture of Rangers really, and Scotland in general. So I think it was a good point Billy made about coming from the country of Morocco to Scotland. That'll be a massive culture change. So he's going to need sort of people around him to help him. But no, it's good to see we're getting our business done early, and yeah, looking forward to seeing the lad.
Good stuff, Billy. I noticed that Youssef had said he's kind of developed his game in the last season as well. He's developed his link-up play really well. He's a powerful player, can bully defenders. Sometimes his finishing's lacking at times. What's your thoughts on this? I don't think he's going to come in and be the 20-30 goal striker that we're looking for. It's just my kind of personal opinion. The boy could come in and hit the ground running, but I think this is what kind of project striker. What's your thoughts?
I mean, it's easy to make these comparisons because it sounded so much like Morelos, didn't it? But There was a comment further up. I'm sorry, I can't remember who said it, but Morelos without the temper, getting into trouble would be probably a benefit to us. I don't think we thought Morelos was coming in to be the main striker that season. We signed a couple, didn't we, when he came in? So he was kind of the kind of what you maybe think is the project one that you mentioned there. He also said later on in the interview that he's really technically gifted as well. Which, would you say that about Morelos? Or I don't know if I would. I mean, sometimes Morelos' heads could be like a 50-pence piece, couldn't it? They just go anywhere, hit off him. So if he can work on, if Clement can coach that kind of finishing side a bit better, it seems like he's got everything else, mate. I'm again only heard about this guy yesterday, but I'm kind of like quite excited about him coming if he does. I don't know. Would he come in and be the main striker? Probably. If Danilo's still there, probably not. But we've seen last season when we only had one striker for most of the season, didn't we? So we need more than that there. Even if Dessers stays, I'd be happy to have another two come in.
I think overall with the way striking department is and the chances missed last season, we always knew we were going to get a project striker, and he is going to play games. So I'm kind of all on board for it. He's come in at a reasonable fee. I don't think the expectations on him are no. It's not like a signing where, say, we bring Tony Cholak back, or you bring in a guy like Shankland, and you're pinning all your kind of hopes on that number 9 or Romani. If he comes in, you're pinning all your hopes on them guys to come in and get a goal. But I think for a fee that's reportedly been agreed, with the potential, the ceiling he's got, it kind of seems a little bit of a no-brainer for me, Tom. What about you, mate?
Yeah, definitely. It's a low fee, and just going back to what Billy said there, when Morelos came in, he wasn't signed as a our main striker. We signed Herrera that summer as well, and he got injured. Morelos came in and then just scored goals, and then basically never went out of the team again. So he took his chance. But again, 1.5 million. It's not a huge amount. It's decent money for us, but at the same time, he's got age on his side. He's got he'll have sell-on value if he does well with us. And as we've said many times, that's what our business model needs to be: buying these players young and cheap, and hopefully getting a profit on them in the future, and then keep that going, keep that circle going. But for 1.5 million, from what Youssef was saying there, sounds like he's got a lot of potential and makes sense. Yeah, it really makes sense.
Well, I'm going to ask you about his character. Youssef says he's very selfless, plays for a team. He'll not be putting shush burgers on Instagram, so that's a positive for me. Not bring any drama to the dressing room. The selfless part, though, we heard come on saying towards the end of the season that Dessers was probably one of the nicest guys in the UK in terms of. Do you think that's something to worry about, or do you think it's just something that shouldn't be concerning us?
I guess I remember the comments Clement made about like maybe his Dessers has been too much of a team player. But again, I think that can be coached out of him to a degree. But you also don't mean was Morelos, was he quite selfless? I don't think so. Did he maybe take shots that he shouldn't have done? Should he maybe have laid off a few more? It's not a bad quality necessarily to have that in your personality. If he's technically good, like Youssef was saying, and if he's got the kind of football brain that he knows when he should go and he knows when he should pass or lay it off, then I guess we don't know at this point, but I'm hopeful that that's more of it. And then if he's doing it too much, I think Clement will get that out of him.
Aye, I would agree with that. Tom, I'll come on to you in terms of his international prospects. So he's on the brink of a call up to the Moroccan team. He's an under-23 Africa Cup winner. Domestically, he's won the Moroccan Cup and he's a Moroccan champion as well. Now, what that means in terms of domestic football over Morocco, I've not got a Scooby, right? But if he's won trophies internationally and domestically, it's got to be a good start in it in terms of mindset for coming into Rangers.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, unfortunately, over the last few years, it's been a bit barren in terms of the trophies that we've won. But ultimately, that's what our aim is, and that's what's expected of you. And we need people who are used to winning, not this sort of no pressure anywhere and just coming and having a bit of a kick around. So the fact he's already won stuff is brilliant. He's in the under-23 Moroccan team, so I'm guessing, I say, please correct me if I'm wrong, I'm guessing he'll be near the Olympic squad for the summer if Morocco are playing there. So that might be a bit of a fly in the ointment for us. But at his age, knocking on the door of the international team, I say it can only be good stuff. Morocco are a decent nation. I noticed Youssef said that they're a bit light in the striking department at the moment, but they've historically been a good football team to watch and some decent players. So the fact that he's knocking on that door there is very positive. And just sort of going back to what you said about mindset and being, not selfish. I kind of liked it when Morelos, when he had his angry head on and had the world against him. It did not bother me one bit. All right, he got some red cards that were a little bit, I think, a little bit unfortunate, and he got them because of who he was. But there was no better sight for me when Morelos had a big angry head on him and bullied defences. So if we can get this guy to be anything like that and not be too friendly, then all would be good, I would imagine.
Tom, I'm going to stay with you. See, in terms of, we've had a few comments, and I think Youssef kind of touched upon the kind of fan culture over in Morocco as well. Do you think this is something, if he's already kind of coming from not a hostile environment, that's not what I'm trying to say, but in terms of if his fans have got expectations and they can be quite hostile in nature in terms of creating an atmosphere, do you think that's something that could potentially help him settle?
Yeah, most definitely. As I've said, we're not the most patient bunch, are we? And it's so if he is used to that sort of environment and expectations, then it will hopefully get him to settle quicker. I think a lot of players come to Rangers and the shirt's just too big for them. We've seen it, as I say, we've seen it with seasoned internationals who have come to us and just, you know, they just can't produce the goods. So expecting a youngish guy to come and sort of hit the ground running, I think we need to be realistic, but at the same time, part of the thing with Rangers is you come and you're going to be a winner. So make sure you take that on the pitch. So if he's used to crowds that are, you know, a little bit wild and a little bit hostile, then yeah, that will, I'm sure, help him settle in and get ready for Ibrox.
Billy, have you got any thoughts on that?
I think Youssef kind of made the point that he's used to playing in front of a very similar fan base to the Rangers fans, and I'm going to have to trust him on that because I don't know a lot about Moroccan football, unfortunately. But when you see the scenes, if you're ever watching, you know, Morocco playing, they seem like a wild bunch. I don't think the Union Bears are going to scare them.
Aye, it's a fair point. It's just, I just think it's interesting in terms of how we're going to help all these guys sort of settle in. And if you look at some of their backgrounds as well, when Cortez has obviously played for Milani Aros or something like that in Colombia, can be quite hostile. I think when we're looking at, you know, we're looking at Chilean centre backs who, like Galdames, who could potentially come in, who plays in hostile atmospheres, and for Godoy Cruz in Argentina. I'm wondering if that's part of the strategy, bringing these guys in, is because they can come in and play in front. They're not going to shrink, basically, when the tide's going against them. Billy, I want to ask you about his ankle injury. Does that bring up any kind of fear for you? I noticed that you asked about injuries, and Youssef had touched upon that that he'd picked up a knock and he'd missed a couple of matches, ringing any alarm bells.
See, before I answer that, mate, can I just go back to what you were saying just a second ago about the fan bases? I think we like to think ourselves as hostile environment, but compared to some of these places you mentioned, I don't think it is. Like, we're a negative environment rather than particularly aggressive or violent. I think these guys are used to more spicier crowds, I guess, than ours. We'll boo you off the park rather than you know, do it. And it's more of a negative thing. But the ankle injury, I wanted, because I didn't know what the injury was, and I don't know if Youssef knew much about it, but it was definitely, as he was saying, just a short-term thing. He's not had a lot of injury problems, and he's fairly short career. Okay, it's 3 years. So no, I'm not. I wasn't particularly worried about that. Any player can pick up an ankle knock. It's kind of common injury, isn't it? So I don't think he's had, according to Youssef anyway, anything that's a worry long term that, you know, would be, you know, having to keep an eye on. I'm sick of having to manage players that can only play one game a week, like your Ryan Jacks or whatever. So if it doesn't sound like he's got anything like that, mate.
That's a fair point. I just feel it's a very valid point in terms of how we're going to help these guys settle in. Tomo, what's your kind of overall thoughts on how we can maybe what I'm trying to say is, how can Rangers help get this guy settled in relatively quickly and bring the best version of him out? Because, I mean, we need to really try and do whatever we can, can't we?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't know what his faith, etc., is, but I would imagine he'd bring family members over, you know, get him in with other players around the squad who, you know, maybe come from the same sort of culture, who know a bit about Glasgow, know a bit about Scotland, take him under his wing, because it is a goldfish bowl, Glasgow. You sign for Rangers or Celtic, you're pretty much out there, aren't you? No matter what you do, you go down the shops or whatever, there'll be people coming up and speaking to you from both teams, some positive, some negative. And I think, as I say, I think having family members and that come over with them will be a big help. And I say the more experienced players in the squad, I don't know how many of them is going to be around come the start of pre-season, but more experienced players in the squad, get them in, take them under the wing, take them out around Glasgow, show them the sights, you know, make him feel wanted, make him feel settled, I think that's the best way. And to be fair, from stuff I've read in the past, I think the likes of Tav does do that with new signings. He really makes an effort with them. So I don't think we'll have too much issues with him settling in. Really, it's just, as I say, I think family and friends that he's got might be the main thing there for him.
Aye, definitely. Billy, 1.5 million if it's to happen. Are you happy?
Oh yeah, I meant to mention earlier on, mate. Look at the potential signings we've had in the last week or so. We brought in. I just got the boy from AC Milan. I forgot his name during the interview, and I forgot his name now. But we could be looking at getting him and getting 1.5 fee here, and then we're looking at the likes of Connor Barden, which might be a $500,000 compensation package that we're reading. So. Other than what's the biggest fee we've had? Is it 4 million, 4.5 million so far this summer? That's been the biggest. So if we've got and we don't have to pay anything for Cortez yet. So we've got that's a good half the amount of maybe the 10, 12 players we're looking for. That's half of them in at a pretty decent price, mate. So 1.5 million for a player like that with the potential that Youssef is telling us he's got, you have to be happy at that, don't you? I think that's great scouting. Hopefully, if he does come in and he comes on and replicates what Morelos has done, at least in his good seasons, not his last one, then we'll definitely get a good. Again, we're looking at all these other markets you mentioned, the South American markets, now the African markets too. This shows you there is players there that we can get in our budget and build this squad back with what it looks like to be really physical young guys. So I'm pleased with that.
Tomo, what about you? 1.5 million. If it's going to get done, you happy guy?
Yeah, most definitely. I've been saying it for a while, Scotty, that we need to be signing players that are young and hungry and want to got their careers ahead of them really and want to make an impression, want to win things and be winners. Some people might not like it, but the fact is we are seen as a bit of a stepping stone for players to go to bigger leagues, not necessarily bigger clubs, because there aren't too many bigger clubs, but certainly bigger leagues. And that's what we need to be focusing on. Players from these sort of leagues, give them that opportunity to showcase their talents and then reap the rewards for it. So I've got absolutely no issues with this transfer whatsoever. Youssef has certainly painted him in a good light. I've not seen the obligatory YouTube video yet, so after this I'll probably go and have a little look, see what he looks like. But yeah, young lad who's early 20s, under 23 international, knocking on the door of a national call up. Then yeah, honestly can't see any negatives with it at the moment.
Nice one. Billy, is there anything for the interview that I've missed that you kind of want to bring up about the boy?
Not at the top of my head, mate. Sorry. Just I got a good impression from Youssef that we're really getting a decent player. I mean, he's saying he's like the biggest prospect in Morocco at the moment. So as much as they mentioned a couple other players towards the end, he definitely seems to be the main prospect at the moment. So if we're getting someone like that, it can only be a good thing, can't it? But I just got a really good impression of him overall from Youssef, that we're going to be getting a good player, a good player that has got decent potential to also maybe make us some money in the future as well.
Aye, definitely, mate. We've also got the Clinton and Ciala pod there as well. If anybody that's watching hasn't watched it yet, head on over. You'll see a very similar format that we've already done here tonight. There's another interview that's just come out that Doug's done for Albion Romani. That get released at lunchtime today. Head on over and watch that. Tomo, what you and Billy up to tomorrow night? I think you two are getting up to something, ain't you?
Yeah, I was going to put a plug in for that before we finished. Yeah, tomorrow at 6, we're going to have a bit of a review of the Euros so far, all the games. I'm sure we will speak a little bit about Scotland and their fantastic performance on Friday night. But yeah, we're going to be talking about the games that have happened so far, and I think tomorrow's sort of the end of the first sort of phase of games, the first match days. So it takes us up nicely to the second games that are starting on Wednesday, and again we'll have a little bit of a preview of the Scotland-Switzerland game. And yeah, so I've seen some of the comments that started just before this about other channels being deluded about Scotland's chances, etc. You can rest assured myself and Billy won't be having any delude them all tomorrow night. So please join us tomorrow at 6 and get involved with the comments. We will be live. Last time we were recorded. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Paul, that's definitely something I'll take on board, mate. So we'll just quickly wrap up there. Billy, do you want to say your thanks and any final thoughts, mate?
I want to say thanks very much to Youssef. I will send him a text after this to thank him personally, but I thought it was really insightful. You could tell that he was, really enthused by Moroccan football. So it was good to get him on, and hopefully if I ever link to any other players, maybe some of the players he's mentioned, he'll come back on and give us another review of that. So I'm thankful to him. It was a good 20-25 minute chat I had with him. I'm also thankful for all the comments at the side. I've tried to respond to the ones that piqued my interest, but thank you very much everyone that watched along. I had a really good time interviewing him.
Thanks very much, mate. Tomo?
Yeah, no, really good interview again, and like I say, people who follow this podcast, they'll know about this sort of format, Scott, that we do. I don't think many other podcasts do anything similar to this, having interviews on from people from other leagues with a good bit of knowledge. So as always, the pod is growing very quickly, so please keep liking and subscribing and spread the word. But thanks again for having me on. It's been an absolute pleasure, and good interview, Billy.
No, thanks again, boys. Remember, like, subscribe, tune in tomorrow night. 6 o'clock, I think, the Europod is going to be out at. We'll be live at 6, discussing all things Scotland and the Euros. Friday night, we're going to have the Rangers news. I'm going to try and fit in a pod about how we can help settle these new signings, because they're coming in for all sorts of different environments. And I think Diamondi and Cortez had settled in really well initially when they signed in January. So I kind of want to do a wee deep dive into that. And if Connor Barron signs a pre-contract with us, I've got something cracking up my sleeve for that. So tune in, like, subscribe. We'll see you tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. Remember, every night is Rangers Journal night.